All right, everybody. For today, we are going to start on our lecture in understanding how is energy and matter processed in cells. So we got done talking about the levels of organization, going from cell to tissue to organ system. But all of those things, that organization requires energy, much like everything in life. And so what we want to do today is understand how is that energy transferred and how do we get that energy from sunlight into the system that is on Earth here. And so a couple of things. When we talk about energy, we put organisms into two categories. Number one is producers, and there's two different types, all right? Photosynthesis, photo meaning light. This is where it uses light energy to break down water and CO2 into a high-powered glucose molecule. Chemosynthesis are my extremophiles. These are the ones that live in extreme conditions, high heat, high salinity, and they end up using those substances to create their energy. Now, the second one is what we call consumers, or heterotrophs is another name for it. And these are organisms that don't have the ability to make their own glucose. And so they have to eat other organisms to be able to get their energy. And this energy, once it enters the system, flows through it. Big thing is energy and matter, for that matter, cannot be created nor destroyed. Since the creation of the universe and the end of the universe, we're going to have the same amount of energy and matter in there. And this one right here, most energy is lost as heat, all right? Our bodies, organisms do waste a lot of energy from a lot of the chemical reactions, so we need this constant input of energy as a result of it. So let's ask the question here. How does energy enter the biosystem? And really, there is one type of organism that helps with this process, and those are going to be our producers. Those organisms that do photosynthesis. So let's go into photosynthesis here. If you're following along, this is in your note packet. We're on the first page here. And let's go ahead and answer our questions here. So there's three main questions we want to ask. How do plants absorb light energy? How do plants transform it? And what structures help obtain it? So let's go ahead and start with the first one. What is photosynthesis? This is the conversion of light energy into chemical energy, taking energy from photons, which are beams of light, and turning them into chemical bonds, all right, covalent, ionic, etc. The one that we're going to be focusing on here, when we talk about photosynthesis food, we're really talking about obtaining this molecule right here, the glucose molecule. Now, a couple of things about glucose you should know. Glucose is not cell energy. It is ATP, okay? So don't think, our body does use glucose as its first energy source, but as we're gonna find out in the next few lectures, that glucose has to be further broken down to create that ATP. So for glucose, it's really just a high potential energy molecule, okay? Where all those bonds are storing that energy so that it can be broken down and used to make that ATP. So make sure that when we're looking at this, you understand what are products and reactants. My reactants is what's going into the equation, whereas my products are the end result. So we can see that H2O and CO2 goes into making glucose and oxygen. Now, take note of this, okay? Let me erase this here. That when we're looking at this, okay, know that, as you learned in chemistry, matter is not created or destroyed. That carbon from that CO2 is being used to create that same carbon that goes into making that glucose there. And those hydrogens from that water go into making the hydrogen for the glucose itself, okay? So we need these reactants going into it to make our product. So often reactants are what we call limiting reagents, meaning that if we lower the amount of CO2, then we're going to lower the amount of glucose being made. So organisms that make their own food we call autotrophs, also known as producers. Go ahead and add that 2 there. Okay, autotrophs are also known as producers. Heterotrophs, organisms have to eat their own or eat other organisms to get their glucose, we call consumers. All right, so when we take a look at the leaf, we're going to study the leaf structure here in just a little bit here. But the big thing about so for this right here, there is one organelle we're concerned about, and that is the chloroplast, okay? That's these particular types of organelles, and this is the site of photosynthesis. Now, you're going to notice that within these chloroplasts, you have these little stacks right here. These are called grana. You do not need to worry about the grana necessarily, but there's a chemical in these proteins within those grana called chlorophyll, okay? And as we're going to later learn, chlorophyll is the green pigment that absorbs, takes in sunlight. So let's kind of expand on that just a little bit here. So again, where does photosynthesis takes place? It takes place in the chloroplast. So again, chloroplast contains pigments. The big thing about pigments are they absorb light energy. That is the big thing about that. They help absorb the light energy so they can convert that CO2 and water into chemical energy, aka the glucose. And the major pigment is chlorophyll. Now, when we take a look at light can do one of 3 things. Light can be absorbed, okay? So let me kind of show you this picture right here. When we talk about light energy, and let's talk about that light falls under this spectrum, okay? Remember, photons move at a constant rate, but depending on how big the wavelength is determines how it interacts with living organisms. And so we are able to interpret this spectrum of wavelength of light from red to purple. Light can be one of 3 things. It could be absorbed, reflected, or transmitted. So let's kind of talk through that here. So we're on the 2nd page of your note packet. So what colors of light is used during photosynthesis? So now, first of all, when we talk about light can be reflected. Again, light reflection is the color that you see when you see things, okay? So, for example, we see that leaves on plants are green. That's because it is reflecting green light. Now, any light that is not bounced back, we say it is absorbed. It's taken in. And transmission is where it's going to be translucent or going through. So absorption is when you have black. Anytime you see the color black, that's going to be absent of color, meaning that it's going to absorb all the different color spectrum. Whereas reflection or white light, that is where it's reflecting all colors, okay? And so this is why you wear lighter clothes in summertime, because they are going to reflect more heat, keeping you cooler overall. So you should know plants have this right here, okay? So when we look at chlorophyll, there's 2 different types of chlorophyll that we want to be aware of, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B, all right? Now, there's many different types of chlorophyll in the leaf. There's keratin, which causes the leaves that turn orange during the fall to turn orange. But the main goal of chlorophyll is just to absorb the sunlight energy. And so take a look at this. So chlorophyll A falls under the wavelength spectrum of 400 to about 550, or not 520. And then here from about 630 past 700. Well, what evolved to want to have these colors? Because again, the color of light is what's causing this reaction to occur. So we can see that chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B do really well at absorbing, I should say here, let me do this a little bit differently here. So if we were doing this, we can see that violet, blue, and dark blue, they get absorbed by the leaf, all right? So it is absorbing violet light, blue light, and violet and blue. Now, here's a problem. For green and yellow, do you see how when we look at our axis, we have light absorbed? There is a lot here and none here. And as we can see in this area right here, underneath green and yellow, we have no absorption, all right? So that means that energy is not being taken in. So as a result, green light is being reflected. This is why we see green, all right? It's because that green light is being reflected, it's not being absorbed, and so green light would not do well for photosynthesis. Now, we go into the orange and reds, those absolutely drive photosynthesis as well. So let's go ahead, again, what we're going to be talking about here in a little bit is the structure of the leaf, okay? And how does the structure of a leaf kind of determine how photosynthesis occurs? And so that's going to be the end of our unit for this lesson right here. However, let's go ahead and let's address this last question here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put the equation down one more time here. CO2 plus water yields using sunlight in the chloroplast to produce glucose and oxygen, okay? So here's a question we want to ask ourselves, and it's this. What factors affect photosynthesis? And so there's going to be three things. First one is going to be temperature, okay? Temperature is going to affect it because, again, this is an enzyme-driven reaction. So just like we learned about with enzymes in Unit 2A, things like extreme temperature can affect the rate of photosynthesis, same as pH. Next one is going to be light intensity. Fourth one is going to be CO2 concentration. And really, we can also put down a 5, the amount of water. Because again, my reactants are going to limit to how much product is being made. So if I limit the amount of water and CO2, that's going to limit the amount of glucose being made. And that is the end of our introduction to photosynthesis.